Welcome back. This is the second part of the interview with artist Helen Musselwhite for Radiance. You've been recently approached by Stella McCartney to do her shop windows. So, I mean, that's such an amazing opportunity. How did you feel when you first got the call?
Well, I got an email on my website. Amazing, couldn't believe it.
Did you take a second look?
Yes, Stella McCartney, wow. It wasn't actually Stella, but
no.
So they told me that they'd seen some of my work in a book. I'd just taken part, contributed to a book about paper craft, and they obviously had this book, saw my work. In the back of the book are all my details, so they got in touch with me. Basically, they do a new window every month, so 12 windows a year, and they asked me if I'd like to design October's window. And basically, again, a new area of work for me, because I wasn't actually physically making them. I designed them and then they were computerised and printed. So basically, they really like my woodland scenes. So I took my woodland animals and trees and owls and slightly redesigned them and used colours that are in Stella's Autumn-Winter 2010 collection. They were computerised, printed, really large, life-size, and they're in the windows of her shops in London, Paris, Milan, New York and LA, and they're alongside the models, the mannequins wearing her clothes. So you've got a mannequin wearing a stripy dress, and next to her is a stag, and a tree, a stripy tree with 3 owls in a branch, and a fox. So it's just taking my characters and just adapting them slightly. And it's just quite interesting to do because they are large scale. They're life size. And again, like with the Coworth Park work that I did, the big pictures, it just adds a different dimension, and you have to think about things completely differently. Because your fox isn't 20 centimetres tall, he's probably a metre tall. So, you know, they're bigger and their expressions become really important, because when they're little, it doesn't matter if they kind of look slightly evil. But when they get to be a little bit bigger, I had to change one of my foxes because he looked a little bit evil. Oh. And I quite liked him. I thought he looked a bit sort of naughty, yeah. But he had slightly slanty eyes. He looked a bit evil, kind of. But that in a way that's good, because it makes me see things in different ways, and it makes me think about my work in a different way.
Your beautiful hilltop house in the glass dome gets so much attention at Radiance. How did you come up with the idea of putting them in glass domes?
I think it's a natural progression from a flat frame to suddenly be in 360 degrees. The idea comes from taxidermy, I think. I like it, but I'm slightly unnerved by it. But it's this whole idea that you're capturing a world, a moment, and it's in a glass dome and it's just perfect. That's what I'm trying to capture. I've thought about this a lot recently, and I think the inspiration comes from when I was very little. I was about 6 or 7, and I lived in Brighton, and my parents took me to visit a museum that was curated by a very eccentric Victorian gentleman who had collected lots of bodies of dead animals and made them into little scenes. And I just remember a scene of a kitten wedding, and there was a bride and a groom and a vicar and a congregation, and they were all dressed and they were in this scene, this tableau, and I can remember being absolutely fascinated by it and wanting to get in there with them. And it just sounds so preposterous now, and it just sounds so awful, but it was just, and I think it had a really marked effect on me. And it's only in the last couple of years that I've realised that this is where these domes come from. Obviously, I'm not a taxidermist, thank goodness, but I'm using my paper and I'm making these little worlds. And Hilltop House, I mean, I want to live in Hilltop House. I want to walk round the hill to get to the top of it, and it's perfect in there. and there are animals in the forest and they're all nice. It's a bit like Walt Disney as well, I think. They probably would talk to me when I walk past them. And that's where that comes from. I'm pretty sure that it's about a moment in time, a captured moment, and that's what I'm trying to do. I've done it in my pictures, but now I've gone 3D. I've put it into a dome.
Your work would be perfect for animation. Have you ever thought about going into this area?
Yeah, that would be something I'd really love to go into. My dream project would be a children's book illustration with an animation spin-off. And that would be wonderful. I'd love to do something like that. I could just, quite often when I'm making my things, I was thinking, if they could just move a little bit, and that would be something. I'd need the help of somebody, obviously. So, Tim Burton would be really good, I think. I think I kind of would share his kind of ideals and things, so you never know.
He would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be
a perfect collaboration.
That would be a dream come true. But that would be something I'd love to do.
You recently have done commercial work with Cadbury's and Nokia. How's this experience come about, and would you like to do more of the same?
Yeah, it was really exciting working for Cadbury's and Nokia. I worked with advertising agencies and a photographer, so again, completely different way of working, very fast way of working, and quite big things to do, and it stretched my mind a bit, how to make things work for a specific purpose. But I think that it took me a long time to get my head around it, and it was quite stressful, and it was really, really hard work and demanding, but it was a brilliant thing to do, and it took me into a different area of work, and one that I really think that I can see myself working in again. And I made basically small-scale stage sets for photographs, and while I was doing this, I realised that it would be brilliant to do something like this on a larger scale, say theatre design, that kind of thing. I think the way that I work lends itself to large-scale pieces. But having said that, I can't forget my roots and how I started making small pieces in frames, and I love doing that, and I will continue to do that. The commercial side of things is just one arm of my work, but my favourite thing still is to make my little worlds in the frames and the domes, and I will continue to do that for as long as I can.
You have the recurring themes throughout your collections, and it seems that each piece that you make is different, and at Radiance we just find that so inspiring. How do you keep your ideas flowing?
Well, I think that I would get bored with doing the same thing over and over again. I want each piece of my work to be an original. It's really important to me that you could put two pieces of my work side by side and they may look the same, but if you look closely, I might have added a bird, or I might have changed the direction of something, or changed where a window is in one of the little houses. Everybody that buys a piece of my work, I want them to have an original, and it's really important to me that every bit is different. That's just what I do, and the details are different. And I might be making something in the morning, and I might take Earl out for a walk, and I might see something on my walk and think, I could add that in. And that's just how it works. There is planning, but the planning goes out the window sometimes, and just things come, and I just keep going. And sometimes I have to stop myself as well, because I put too much detail in, and I think, save that for the next one.
You have a remarkable collection on the website. Do you photograph every piece before sending it away to shops?
Yeah, I try to. I think it's really, really important for me to see what I've done before, and also as an archive. And quite often I get asked by publishers for photographs of my work, and I've learnt that you must photograph everything. And even though, it's quite time consuming and getting the lighting right is quite tricky, I do make time to do it, because quite often if it's gone when I've sent it, it's gone forever, and I don't know where it's gone, and I'll never see it again. So yeah, photography is really, really important.
Where can we buy your work?
You can buy my work from a lovely shop in Hebden Bridge called Radiance. But if you are in the area, please go and visit, because there's some wonderful things in there, and Hannah is always very pleased to see you.
What do you love most about what you do?
I love the fact that I can get up in the morning and walk down the stairs and I'm in my office, I'm in my workspace. I love the fact that I've got the freedom to explore all areas of my work, and I can go off on a whim and a tangent when I want to. And I also love the fact that I come down in the morning and I can have emails from all corners of the world. The fact that me, in my studio in Manchester, I can reach, and people can reach me from all over the world. That's the beauty of the internet. I don't have to have a really expensive shop in London. I don't have to be represented by anyone. I represent myself. My website is me. It's my window on the world. It's for me to contact people, to show people what I do, but it's also for people to come to me and ask me, can I do this for them? Whether it be a private commission or a company, a photographer asking me to collaborate with them. I just never know what I'm going to find, and it's just a joy to be able to have this tool in my hands that just allows me to do what I do, and I couldn't be happier.
It's been lovely meeting you, Helen, and having the pleasure to hear your story. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Fiona. It's been a pleasure to meet you too. Thank you.
If you would like to know more about Radiance artists, please go to www.radiancelighting.co.uk.